You're welcome back to Good Morning Nigeria, and it's happening live on the network service. Coming up will be news making the headlines on Newspaper Review in just a moment.
All right, and the man to serve the review is here seated. Abuja, welcome to Good Morning
Victor.
Nigeria.
Good morning. How are you today?
Well, I'm all right. I can be better.
You're beside Claire. Claire, how are you doing yourself?
Very well, good morning. Good to see you once again.
Same here.
Yes, let's quickly start up with the newspaper review, and we're beginning with the New Telegraph. The lead story, it's on the 2023 budget. Lawmakers in dilemma over capital appropriation. To extend decision on implementation, request allegedly forwarded by President Tinubu as initial deadline ends in 3 days. And just below the picture story, you have alleged 432 billion naira fraud. El-Rufai slams 1 billion naira rights on suit on Kaduna Assembly. And there are also other stories trending. Attempt to bomb hotel presidential ploy to impose state of emergency. That's the Rivers State Governor Fubara. And of course, you also see him in that picture story having a handshake with some of the members of the Senate Committee on Privatization who visited Government House Port Harcourt yesterday. ASU reconsiders decision on strike after meeting with FG. It's on page 3. And governors hold final decision on minimum wage, local government autonomy. Now, prevention, most potent weapon in curbing drug abuse. President Tinubu and Marwa NDLE arrested 52,901 traffickers and others. And on the foreign scene, Kenya's president withdraws tax plan after deadly protest. Let's take a quick look at the stories just below the nameplate. And Shatima, that's vice president, Tinubu determined to redefine modern leadership concept, says president not against the North. And while we are intervening on federal roads, that's from the Delta State government. And there are other stories just above the nameplate there. Cardoso, capital raise will create stronger and more resilient banks. Okay, that's the outlook from the New Telegraph.
All right, let's get the leadership now. And it leads with this major headline. Oronsai report, 4 months after FG foot drags on merger of MDAs. Delay causing anxiety among civil servants. SGF, head of service, keep mum. That story is on page 4. 432 billion naira fraud. El-Rufai files 1 billion naira damages suit against Kaduna Assembly. You can get the details of that on page 4. And just above the nameplate, Dangote refinery fire contained, operations ongoing, page 29. And then 8 students drowned in Kaduna River. That one is on page 18. We move on to the Daily Sun now. And the Daily Sun leads with a major headline. Minimum wage, Labour rejects Tinubu's position, describes president's pronouncement to consult with stakeholders as unfortunate, silent on next step. Governors meet over wage, others. You can get details of all of that on page 6. FG, ASU move to avert a fresh strike. That one is just beside the nameplate, and you can get details on page 6. I think some of the orders here we have read in the other papers. Senate holds emergency session, may consider supplementary budget for Tinubu's presidential jets. That one is on page 6. And finally, we just take this. Nnamdi Kanu moves to appeal court over jurisdictional issue. Details on page 5. We are not fighting anyone, Fubara tells Senate. Carlo urges Wike governor to sheath sword. That story is on page 27. I think we can leave it here.
Chukwudi,
Yes.
let's take the lead story from the New Telegraph. It's talking about the decision to, of course, extend the implementation of the appropriation over capital. What do you think? There was a prior request by the president
To extend what?
to extend the budget, the
Yes.
appropriation over budget, capital budget, 2023 capital budget,
Yes.
to extend implementation period.
There must be a reason given for it. Is the reason that would justify or make you want to analyze the advantages or disadvantages of it? And any reason advanced there? I didn't quite see that stuff.
Yes,
Yes.
it's the lead story.
Okay.
It's the lead story. Well, you somehow, when these requests are made, we don't know, but the paper is saying
It's definitely to
this
meet a
request-
contingency. A shortfall has been noticed somewhere. When you plan, you don't plan excellently. You don't plan perfectly. You plan to the best of your ability, to the best of your vision. But you are not caught in the concrete of planning. You are immersed in the flexibility of planning. So when there is any need to change what had been arranged, you go ahead and do that. I want to think that there must be a
There's been
reason.
one earlier. How many supplementary budgets?
Yeah, of course, yes.
Yeah,
many?
but I
thought you had
there's
a
a
talking point
timeline
around it.
No, but it's what we're supposed to review. Is the lead story on the front page of a newspaper?
Where is the front page
yes.
of one newspaper?
Yes.
There are so many.
No,
other
that's
newspapers. Up three,
so,
yeah.
So usually there is a time frame
Okay.
for budget implementation.
Of course, yes.
This supplementary and the other one was supposed to have ended
Naturally.
3 days from now, which is June 30th. And by which time, I want to, presume that the implementation, whatever they were budgeted for, would have been implemented,
done.
Yes.
would have been done. So probably,
You're assuming the resources for that implementation came when they should come. We are living in hard times. There must have been a shortfall in providing that which you
in
need.
utilizing the fund,
Yeah,
probably. Maybe you still have the fund, so you have not fully utilized the fund.
yeah.
So you need more time to finish it before you commence on the 2024 budget.
Let's not delve too much into the territory of guesswork. What I'm thinking is that if they are extending, it is because the implementation has not happened the way it should happen.
Now
And
you're
because of the shortfall in revenue, you're likely to find out that part of the reason is that the monies did not quite come in time. You can budget, but that's not to say you automatically also.
Aren't we all assuming at the end of the day?
That's it. It's okay. That's what I said.
But don't forget that, again, the impact of that on the 2024 budget.
Oh.
Which means the 2024 budget, what happens to the 2024 budget? Will there be a pari passu
We'll find
implementation?
out.
No,
They'll tell
hold on.
us.
Will there be a simultaneous implementation of the supplementary budget and the 2024 budget?
Claire, if you're standing beside me or behind me, and suddenly I feel a pressure up front there that requires me to say, Claire, please, can you shift a little? I'm going to do that. And you're going to treat that as completely human. You understand? Don't cast them in concrete. That's the point I started with. There is a reason for asking for the... So what we hope is that that reason is going to be justified, and whatever has created the reason for asking for it would be met at the end of the day. That's it. It's planning.
It's not that it's unconstitutional to ask for.
No,
it's not.
No,
it's not. We're just trying to find out.
It's not casting
Yeah,
Let's
yes,
take a look at this. The 4 months after FG Food Drugs on merger of MDAs. At the point, it was a major issue for us here.
Can we have that on the screen?
The
That's
leadership.
The leadership.
Leave the director and his people to act into what you're saying. Just go on. Okay.
Can we have it?
At the
please?
point we were
That's it.
discussing it, we thought that it was imminent. We even had we had Bayononga here who told us that
Yes.
this was a sign of
I
political
said,
will.
one of the early pronouncements by the Tinubu administration was the slimming down of MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies. And people applauded it because we thought that the bloating some people suspect or allege in these MDAs would finally be taken care of. For us to stay 4 months into it, now remember the Oron-Sayen report came in 2012. 2012, many administrations have sidestepped it, you know. We applauded the Tinubu administration for trying to take the bull by the horns and saying, look, waste is not going to be allowed and all that. Again, what is the reason for delaying it? We don't want to get in again into the territory of guesswork. Government will tell you, he who wears the shoes know where they pinch. You understand? Some people said part of the reason the APC was saying so many things they were saying initially was that they had not got into government. When they got into government, some of them found out that it's not really as easy as, you know, when I say government, I mean federal government. PDP started off and all that. You know, so many things would happen to a man, a woman, to make them change, you know, what they had thought was going to be a promptly implemented vision.
You know, it's really, like you said, it's not as seamless as people will think.
It never is.
Yes, for instance,
try managing
there are a lot of metrics, you know,
Yes.
that will need to be, you know,
Exactly.
investigated. A lot of frame issues. You know, for instance, when the news came out and the issue of merging some, you know, media houses together. I mean, you were on the platform.
Did you not feel a little, you know, shaky about it? Because merging would mean that Victor, for instance, if we had a radio station, for instance, we could use Victor on TV and also send him to the radio hour. That would enable us slim down in terms of the number of the boots on the ground, so to speak, handling the chores we have in NTA, which is audio, radio, TV in this scenario.
It was like that.
And there's a social cost. The social cost is that you would push some people into unemployment. And sometimes government will tell you, we know that this money could have been saved, but we also don't want to push these boys into unemployment and they start thinking like criminals. So government at all times is contending with so many things that may not be easily
But
available
when there is
to
communication,
Yes.
it's easier, you know, you carry people along, not just to go high and then quiet.
Okay, Chukwudi, let's look at another story. Again, I'm taking this story from the New Telegraph. ASU reconsiders decision on strike.
That's after meeting
with the federal government.
Yes.
And I know that what do you think?
What I know, not what I think, is that inflexibility should never play a part in men's lives. ASU decided, hey, look, we're going to warn them again about an impending strike, a looming strike and all that. But it takes me back to what I always preach here. Jaw it, don't war it. When people talk, what you think is insurmountable, what you think is intractable, begins actually to be doable by the parties concerned, the parties to the conflict. So talking does a lot. In a marriage, in the community, in government, everywhere. The government that suffers most is the government that does not engage in dialogue with the people of the polity.
Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time. I had thought that you'd be able to say a word or two about Labour rejecting the president's position that he would consult afresh.
All right, Chukwudi, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
It's okay. Thank you. The president and Labour would eventually agree. Find out.
You're watching Good Morning Nigeria. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll start our conversation on Northwest Peace and Security Summit.